So today, very good mix of the speaker. So we have two speakers, one from the Science Park, Dr. Crystal Fogg. She will talk about the facility and also funding available from the Science Park perspective. And then another gentleman, Terry Lam, is a manager from Construction and Industry Council. He will also talk about the funding and also facility available from the council, in particular for the construction industry. And then apart from the two speakers who representing the government side to talk about the funding, we also have two gentlemen who talk about his success story about the company, how they leverage the Hong Kong unique advantage to build their business. One is Jonathan Ng, who is from the Innovo Robotics, and also Mr. Li Feng from Geekpus is talk about the company, how they use Hong Kong as the international hub to build their business, right? Before I move on to each speaker, let me introduce one by one. Dr. Crystal Fogg is the director from AI Robotics from Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. Science and Technology Park is a world-class R&D center in Hong Kong. Dr. Fogg looked after the AI robotics in Science Park, and then she received her PhD in Mechanical Automation Engineering from Chinese University of Hong Kong, and she will talk about the facility and funding available from the Science Park. The second speaker is Terry Lam. He is the manager from Construction Industry Council, looking after the promotion and the development of robotic technologies and automation system in construction industry. Construction Industry Council is a government body to connect the industry and the government. His speech will cover robotic application in the construction area and also funding available. But unfortunately, Terry is crashed his one of the meetings, so he is very helpful. He, together with his colleague Raymond, have already recorded a video so that we will record the video, we'll play the video, but I think he can be able to join the Q&A time later on. The third speaker is Jonathan Zheng. He is a co-founder of Innovo Robotics. This company is a Science Park tenant, and it operates in both Hong Kong and UK. Jonathan created Innovo Robotics, but in particular to address the flexible use of robotics in the SME, smart media enterprise, by means of using lower cost and also easy to use kind of robotics. So in this video, in this webinar, he will share about the robotic use in SME. Actually, Jonathan has been interviewed by one of the TV broadcaster in Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago. And then the fourth speaker is Mr. Li Feng. He's the VP and Managing Director of Geekpus. He's in charge of the company overseas business. Geekpus is a very fast-growing company in Hong Kong, originated from Beijing. And this company manufacture, design robotic in the use of logistic sector. Mr. Feng has more than 10 years experience in the logistic automation field. He will share how the Geekpus successfully using Hong Kong as a global hub to expand its logistic robotics worldwide. So in terms of the rundown, I will start with give a very brief introduction about Invest Hong Kong and also Hong Kong by itself for those people who particularly not in Hong Kong, in Europe. And then after that, each speaker will spend about 15 minutes to talk about in his particular areas. Without further delay, let me introduce Invest Hong Kong first, right? So Invest Hong Kong is the government agency to promote and attract foreign investment, including overseas and also mainland company to set up their business in Hong Kong. So we provide free kind of service. Within Invest Hong Kong, we have different sectors. I look after the innovation and technology sector, which including the robotics. For Invest Hong Kong, we have about 31 locations worldwide, and then we connect different ecosystem partners, including government branches, university, technology park, chambers, public utility, investor, incubator, and also other kind of institutions as well. So a little bit about Hong Kong. Hong Kong in particular has a very unique kind of competitive advantage. Starting from the top left-hand side, so in Hong Kong is in the center of Asia. So if you travel within a couple of hours, you can reach half of the population worldwide. We can access to China through the mainland using the beach or the express rail linkage. And then we offer very simple and low-tax system. So if you have a revenue less than Hong Kong dollar 2 million, then the tax rate is only 8.25%, but anything about 2 million is charging at 16.5%. We have no GAT, no sales tax, so it's very simple kind of tax system in Hong Kong. Capital fundraising in Hong Kong is kind of world leading number one in terms of IPO fundraising. So for the last 10 years, we are ranked the top number one in 6 years. And then we also be the in terms of biotech, so it's not relevant here, but in terms of biotech, we are the number 2 worldwide. We also very good in kind of intellectual properties, right? So from registration, we're using dual patent system. For registration, we have a very good protection. We have a good lawyer, a legal system can act as a litigation and arbitration hub in Asia. We have a good asset management because of the low tax rate. And Hong Kong by itself is only 7 million, but if we are talking about Greater Bay Area, we can increase our population from 7 million to 71 million, 10 times. And then we have a much bigger GDP can be compared to Australia and Spain in this Greater Bay Area. And also we have a very vibrant kind of a startup ecosystem, leveraging our good network of incubator and accelerator. And also we have a lot of experienced angel fund and venture capital in Hong Kong. So now to quickly look at the robotic industry in Hong Kong. So we have a robot, and then start with the R&D facility. I just mentioned about the Hong Kong Science Technology Park, but in addition to that, we also have S3, who look after the applied research, productivity council, and also logistic council as well. So they provide different programs, funding available. Next one is the Next one is we just mentioned about the business friendly, right? So we have a common law, which is both using English and Chinese, so which is very good for company who want to enter China using Hong Kong as a gateway. And then the next step will be the talent, right? We talk about the talent. So 5 universities in Hong Kong are ranked top 100 worldwide. So we can have a lot of talent in this area. And then the next one is about the funding and the policy. Hong Kong government provide matching fund, right? So if you invest $1, and then the government will provide an additional $1 to the project. And also we have a tax reduction. So for the R&D expenditure, anything below 2 million, we have 3 times of tax deduction amount. And above 2 million will be 2 times of that amount for the tax deduction. And also we have cash rebate. So if you put $100 in the R&D investment, then 40%, $40, the government will rebate back to you. So we also have other salary subsidized and also venture fund as well. So government do support a lot for this innovation. And then for the next one, it's about the product launch. It's about commercialization. So the government is very pro-innovation. So we have a pro-innovation policy for everything we want to, from the government perspective, if we want to invest, whenever you have a technology element in there, is a real procurement. We will have a more favorable to procure your technology with that innovation technologies, right? And also we have different portal or innovation lab to adjust to match the wish list and also the customer, the industry solution as well. So, and also the CIC, which is the Construction Industry Council, which Terry will talk about the platform, which is applied to the construction area. And then for the next one is about the GBA. So the GBA, I mentioned before, is the size of GBA, which is talking about 71 million population. But in addition to that, you can make use of GBA for looking for prototype, right? So some research mentioned about if you want to do a prototype in GBA, particularly in Shenzhen, then it's only 1/5 of the cost compared to the global. And also we have a massive of kind of a factory in the GBA area. So that's why there are a lot of company who use leveraging Hong Kong as a base and then do the manufacturing in the GBA because of very nearby to Hong Kong. So that is the advantage of Hong Kong. So without further delay, let me hand over to the next speaker, which is the Dr. Crystal Fogg. And then Dr. Crystal Fogg will talk about the fantastic kind of facility available in the Science Park. Shall I hand over to Dr. Crystal Fogg?
Yes, thanks a lot, Andy. So I'm going to share the screen first.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear Andy? Hello, Andy. Hello. Hello. Okay, so yeah, thanks a lot. So I will start now. So yeah, I'm so great to share some of the support from the Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks. So HKSTP is a funding, I would say a statutory body supported by the Hong Kong government. So from this slide, actually, it is the science park in Hong Kong. So right now, we are having several footprints in Hong Kong. So the science park here in Sha Tin is actually serving the R&D companies. So if you are working anything related to R&D, and you are planning for a setup in Hong Kong, of course, you may consider Science Park as one of your choice. So for Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, we established in 2001. So next year will be the 22nd anniversary for us. So right now we are offering about 400,000 meter square R&D office space. And it counts only the science park in Sha Tin. And later on, I will further introduce other 15 of us. And within this area, we are now having 890 plus technology companies. So the working population is about 14,000. So you could imagine that actually the activities is quite vibrant here every day. And we have companies coming from 23 different countries. So of course, quite a lot of them is from US, UK, or in China, but also other nations as well. So we have a very good incubation program, which our target is mainly those startup companies. So right now, up to this moment, we already have 420 startup company at one time. So including the graduated incubators, we have more than thousands in the past years. So in the future, we are not looking into Hong Kong. So we are also grabbing those opportunities to be available in GBA, which is the Greater Bay Area as well. So just as I said, Science Park is hosting most of the R&D companies. So you can see some big names here like Siemens, Philips, which are all those international companies, and some big ones from China, which is TCL and Huawei, and some locals as well. For example, the Goldpeak company and Cargo Smart. So all these technology companies, they mostly stay in Science Park and having their own R&D activities. But at the same time, we have another center at at the Kowloon Tong, which is quite near to the city. And the right now the Inno Center is mainly serving two purposes. One is an incubation center for some startups. At the same time, quite a lot of fintech companies are also located there. So because of its location, the proximity to the city, which is more favorable for such kind of companies. And at the same time, we have three industrial estates at Tai Po, Yunnan, and Chengkano. So you can imagine that HKSTP is actually owning quite a lot of pieces of land in Hong Kong, and the purpose is driving companies from R&D to manufacturing and production. That's why we own three industrial estates as well. So for my own area, which is in AIR, so which is a integration of artificial intelligence and robotics, so that we call it AIR. So here is a very quick overview of the existing landscape in Science Park. So in robotics, actually most of the companies are still in the are already in the tenant stage, which means that those are at least SME companies or even more big companies. And about 20% of them are in the startup stage. So most of them are recruiting or right now in the incubation program. But for the AI side, you can see another kind of a phenomenon. Actually, most of the AI companies right now are still in the startup stage. So they are now in the incubation program, and only a few of them are already being more mature and joining the tenancy program. And right now, you can see two examples of our successful companies. The right hand side is a company working on AI, and what they're working for is mainly in speech recognition, NLP, something like that. So they joined the incubation program in 2015, and then after 2 years, they got the first sales contract with the support of Science Park. And later on, they got a very good investor, which is the Horizon, and offering them the pre-Series A investment. And this company graduated in 2018. So after they being graduated, they joined our elite program, which is another kind of funding, offering the support to those companies which are having good R&D expenses. So we do a one-on-one matching with them. So right now, they are already in the second phase of investment stage. So the company is growing healthily. So on the robotics side, we got another company which is called the Vision Lab. They get a seed funding from the university, which is the Chinese University of Hong Kong, in 2015. And then they joined our incubation program during the next year. And this company really doing well. So they got an early graduate in 2018. The early graduation means that our incubation actually lasts for 3 years, but they can graduate within 2 years because they got a pre-A round investment within that 2 years of time. That's why they seek for early graduations. But this year they joined us again as a tenant and seeking for the application for the elite program next year. So you can see that actually the whole journey for a company could be quite critical. If they join the incubation program with our support within that period of time, so most of them are getting more success after the incubation program. But the incubation program is just a start. So if they are seeking for another round of funding or investment, actually Science Park is offering plenty of options for them. So talking about the facilities that are supporting the AI and robotics development, we have two physical centers being set up already. One is for AI, which we call the AI Plug, and the other one is called the RCC, and the full name is the Robotics Catalyzing Center. So the RCC is offering two critical components for robotics company. The first one is the prototyping service, and the second one is the space. And this is not just a common office space. It's actually a lab space that allowing people to set up the robotic solution inside. So for the prototyping service, we hope that we could offer the most practical support to the robotics companies. So we got robots on site that you can do the rental for your own purpose, and also the 3D printing service, as well as some laser cutting, water cutting. So all these are quite practical for companies really working in robotics. So the second, sorry. So of course, for some hardware development, you usually need a kind of support from other service providers. So we have offered the support for this kind of prototyping service as well. So they can help you to do the metal work, plastic work, and also the electronic prototyping. So you don't have to worry all these. Once you situate at Science Park, it is not something really related to hardcore R&Ds, but we offer such kind of service so that you don't have to spend time on it. So talking about the lab space, all the lab spaces having high flexibility. You don't have to rent the space for years. So even though you just want a space for one project, so the shortest time of rental is just 1 month, which means that you can set up the whole production line for your client, and when they accept the design and deliverables, you can just move out. So within the lab space, we already have certain kind of provision, like the high power supply, and then the chemical drainage and the compressor, something like that. So you don't have to worry about the renovation as well. So the previous one, the RCC, is mainly for robotics, and the second one is for AI companies. So this one is of a membership mechanism. So any companies, if you got the AI R&D elements, you can join the AI Plug as a member. So what we offer is the free usage of the AI Plug facilities, like the working cabin and the meeting rooms, and all these are mostly used by the AI companies. And additionally, we have a good deal with several cloud service providers like the AWS, Microsoft, Huawei, Alibaba, and also Google Cloud. They all of them are having special credit offer in cloud for us, the AI Plug members. And if you are a AI Club members together as a science park companies or incubator, you may also enjoy the matching fund that we offer, which is up to 48,000 per year. So simply speaking, you pay up 3,000 membership fee for every year, and then you can seek for a 48,000 return when you are subscribing the cloud services. So all these are benefits for AI Club members, but more practically, if you need the technical support from different service providers like the cloud service provider, hardware service providers, I would say it's not easy for startup companies. But if you are a AI Club members, actually we can help you to connect directly with all these service providers, because they can help you doing the POC stages, or they can offer certain technical trainings, or even business matching opportunity for our AI Plug members. So this is the area that we call the tech shop. But more importantly, if you are a overseas company and you are considering Hong Kong as one of your R&D hub, I think most of you are looking for business opportunities. So we are going to launch a new platform, which is called the Technology Validation Platform. The reason is we know that from the buy side, if a company want to adopt one technologies for their own good, actually they have different kind of consideration no matter doing the pre-tendering, tendering, or POC stages. So some of them are even have no idea how to make up the technical specifications. And after they offer in the tender, it's not easy for them to do the assessment. And even though they come to the POC stages, they don't know how to do the acceptance test. So the technology validation platform is exactly serving this purpose, helping the buy side to understand what is the technology and encouraging them to adopt your solution. So Science Park in the middle is playing a mediating role in order to make the solution seeker and the solution provider, which is you, to be more comfortable. So we will define a performance matrix together with you and also the buying side. The buy side will tell us what they are looking for in terms of like the return on investment or the quality that they are looking for. And for you, you have to provide us your technical specification. So after this matrix is being formed, we will go for the technology validation. So this is a case for robots. So disinfection robots is one area which is quite hot nowadays, but it's not easy for one corporate to identify the most suitable solution that they're looking for. So right now we are defining the performance matrix with both the buy side and the sell side. So once it's being formed, actually we will test out certain physical properties. For example, is it able to do the obstacle avoidance, something like. But because the robot has to be deployed in quite a lot of scenarios, so we will build up a digital twin for the solution seeker. So no matter it is a hospital or a school or shopping mall, we can build it up like in a virtual environment. And then at the same time, we will build up the virtual robot according to the physical properties. And then the robot could be tested out within the digital environment. So after this kind of hardware in the loop, actually the buyer which is the solution seeker, is able to receive a performance report, which include all the testing data within the physical and the virtual lab. So we believe that having this technology validation platform, it will help the solution seeker to identify the most suitable solutions that they are looking for. And within the technology validation platform, actually there is no limitation for the application scenarios. And for you, you may also load some of the assessment for your own solutions. So this is my presentation today. So in conclusion, throughout the technology validation platform, we hope to help all the people to realize and also to visualize the power of technologies. So if you have any further questions, you can just scan the QR code, and this is the contact of me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Fogg. So I think there will be some question to ask you, so I will leave it to the end of the Q&A section. So for the next speaker will be Terry Lam. He's from the Construction Industry Council. As I mentioned earlier, he is not unable to join us now, but he already made a recorded video so that we can play the video now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Terry Lam from the Construction Industry Council. I'm going to share with you robotics solution and funding support for construction industry in Hong Kong. Today's presentation will cover the challenges of Hong Kong construction industry, Construction 2.0, and a CIC consultancy study about the construction robotics. Then I will introduce some construction robots application in Hong Kong, our funding support, CTEC, and finally, the construction robot certification scheme. Driven by strong demand for housing and infrastructure, the construction industry of Hong Kong is anticipating a period of prosperity with 230 billion Hong Kong dollars in the coming 10 years. The high construction volume brings us opportunities and challenges as well. According to the 2020 International Construction Cost published by the consultancy firm Arcadis, Hong Kong still ranks very high in construction costs, just behind London and New York. For the safety concerns, although both accident and fatality rates showing a downtrend, but there are still ways to further improve the safety performance of the industry. For example, application of construction robots for some high-risk tasks can definitely make the works safer and hopefully further lower the accident and fatality rate. According to our worker registration records, the average age of our workforce is nearly 50, and over 53% of our skilled workers are aged 50 or above. This figure is indeed very alarming and is affecting our productivity. On top of that, our productivity growth is slow compared to service and manufacturing industry. As shown in the figure, the labor productivity is declining. The rate in 2019 is just half of the productivity in the period of 2006. In view of the above, the Development Bureau of Hong Kong SAR government has led the industry to implement Construction 2.0 for promoting its sustainable development by advocating innovation, professionalism, and revitalization. The development of an industry culture that embraces change, innovation, and new technologies to drive forward productivity, efficiency, and enhance project delivery outcomes. We need more construction robots to help achieve this. We have commissioned Professor Thomas Bock from the University of Munich to conduct a consultancy study investigating the potential of implementing robotics and automation in the context of large-scale housing development for Hong Kong. In the study, a survey result showed that in Hong Kong, construction robotics and automation are overall approved by the local professional and stakeholders. And the highly recommended technologies are reinforcing bar prefabrication, positioning, automatic climbing formwork, installation, and material handling. If you are interested in the report, you can refer it in our CIC website. Now I will show some robotics application in Hong Kong. The service robot is a customer-built robot system for repairing gas service pipe at the external wall. It's equipped with cameras, different advanced sensors, such that the user can monitor and remotely control the robot at the ground station. It improves work quality and safety. Adaptive robotic welder also reforms the traditional way of welding. With its adaptive robot control, the robot can be set up within 2 to 5 minutes. Operator can easily perform the welding function in a safer manner. The robot can also work with BIM, big data, 5G technologies, bring added value to the construction works. The intelligent robotic system, the development of which was initiated by the Highways Department and which was co-invented successfully built by the Highway Department and the Hong Kong Productivity Council. The system possesses full cognitive abilities to understand its surrounding and use automated robot arms to place and collect traffic cones on the public roads. It enhances safety protection for carry out road works on public roads. The drilling robots drill holes at the ceiling automatically. Under the control of just one worker, the worker has to enter the perimeter of the workplace via a BIM model, so the robot, the first drilling hole, and the robot can do the rest. Compared with traditional drilling method, the robot saves about 70% of the time needed for a job and improves safety by eliminating the need to work at heights. The CIC believes research and innovations are of great importance to the sustainable development of the construction industry. Hence, CIC is committed to work closely with the industry stakeholders to drive innovation and initiate practical research outcome. The CIC Research and Technology Development Fund is set up to provide financial support for research projects which can benefit the construction industry through practical application of the research outcome. Construction robot is one of the research agenda we are looking for. We hope to support researcher, innovator to develop construction robots and conduct the trials. European companies can apply our R&D fund via subsidies established in Hong Kong or working with the partners in Hong Kong. Besides R&D fund, there is another technology fund called CITF, more on the product implementation to encourage wider adoption of innovative construction methods and new technologies. I introduce Raymond from our CITF team to brief you the fund. Raymond, please.
Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you for giving us a chance to introduce the Construction Innovation and Technology Fund in this webinar. My name is Raymond. I'm the representative of the CITF Secretariat. The CITF, we have an approved allocation of 1 billion Hong Kong dollar. It is established by the government of HKSAR in October 2018, and CIC is the implementation partner. The CITF encourages technology adoption in automations, industrializations, and digitizations. We have two categories, the technology adoption stream and the manpower development stream. We will elaborate more on the advanced construction technologies, ACT, and industrialized process under the technology adoption today. There are mainly three types of enterprises could be eligible to apply for the CITF: the levy-paying contractors, the registered specialist trade contractors, and registered subcontractors, and consultants on the list maintained by the government and professional bodies. We have two modes of funding under the ACT. The first one is co-fund with 70% grant from the CITF, and the second one is co-fund with 50% grant from CITF for rental of equipment. The funding ceiling is 800,000 Hong Kong dollar per technology. Within this ceiling, the ceiling for rental is 200,000 Hong Kong dollar per technology, and the rental period is no more than 6 months. The cumulative ceiling for rental is 500,000 Hong Kong dollar per applicant or company. For every applicant, the combined ceiling under the ACD category is 2.2 million Hong Kong dollar, which means you could purchase up to 3 different types of technologies. Some of the applicants would ask how they could locate a robotic technology which might suit for their projects. You could either look for those technologies via your own service providers, or you could browse the pre-approved technology list in the CITF website. Those technologies listed in our pre-approved list were technically approved by the CITF vetting committees. If you are eligible to apply for CITF and you choose item from our pre-approved list, we could notify the application result to you within 30 calendar days upon receiving complete information. Taking one of the pre-approved robotic technologies as an example, we have so far approved around 4.6 million Hong Kong dollar to our eligible applicants on adopting this sweetened technology in their construction projects in Hong Kong. We will also provide funding support to industrialized process robotic welding. The funding ceiling is 800,000 Hong Kong dollar per applicant, and the mode is co-funded with 15% grant from the processing fee involved. The application process of CITF is mainly via the CITF application e-portal. Therefore, you have to create an account at CITF website if you would like to apply for a CITF. It would normally take us 60 calendar days to proceed with non-pre-approved applications, and 30 calendar days for pre-approved applications. Thank you for your kind attention, and that's the end of my section. So I will pass it back to Terry. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Raymond. Now I will introduce you CITEC. CITEC serves as a knowledge hub by collecting, showcasing, and promulgating the latest local and overseas construction technologies with a view to promoting the implementation and application of construction innovation. CITEC occupies around 10,000 square feet of an exhibition area with over 40 innovation technologies currently on display. If you are interested in visiting our CITEC, or you have innovation technologies that you want to be displayed in CITEC, you may refer to the website of our CITEC. Last but not least, we are developing a construction robot certification scheme applicable to all construction trades with specific requirements for 3 key trades, namely welding, painting, and plastering. The objectives are to stimulate and elevate confidence in the use of construction robotics, and thus stimulate the demand and supply of robots for Hong Kong construction industry, to benchmark the performance and reliability of construction robots used on construction sites, to uphold the construction-wide standards in terms of functionality, productivity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We have commissioned a consultant to carry out a study for establishing this scheme for us. The search scheme is expected to launch in the second quarter of 2021. That's all for my presentation today. Thank you very much.
So someone want to talk, continue to talk. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello.
Hello, Jonathan. I can see you over there with your Robotics sitting next to you. So
I do.
It's doing a massage for you, right? So, so I hand over to you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me just prepare my slides. Great. Firstly, welcome everybody, and thank you very much, Andy, and the team at Invest Hong Kong for Firstly, the warm invitation and introductions. My name is Jonathan Chung, as Andy said, and I am the co-founder of Innova Robotics. And as you can see, I've brought a robot with me today. We started Innova Robotics in 2016. We are a collaborative robot manufacturer, and we really specialize in making not only industrial robots, but collaborative robots for small to medium businesses, for batch manufacturing companies, but also a number of different verticals, such as agritech, food and beverage, batch and small scale manufacturing, as well as in the education market. So a number of different verticals, and what we do is we have a unique set of unique selling points, which allows us to enter those markets and be successful with those features, which I'll go on to in a moment. So before I go in and talk in detail about applications and what our system does, I thought I'd introduce the journey that Innova has taken over the last few years, and what is the journey for Innova Robotics. So as I said, we started in 2016, and we really started in both the UK and in Hong Kong. Myself and my co-founder, we are both in tech, or we both originally from tech, and we met while working in a robotics company in the UK. So we had a very, very good technical background, and we met around 10 years ago. So as a startup company, and a robotics company, and a startup company in general, you know, we really looked at where the best place to start a company would be in the world and globally. And there are a number of factors which really kind of govern where to start a business. So those factors are really narrowed down basically into kind of 4 little areas which we feel. Firstly is the market. So it's always very good for a startup company or to be close to the market opportunity. But equally, you need to be close to the supply chain and if you're developing a hardware product, then you need to have good close control over your supply chain. But as the business undoubtedly requires funding and talent and business support and infrastructure, those are also very, very big factors that played into our decisions, and also many startups' decisions to understand where to make your business work. So our market, or target market, was originally in Western Europe. Things have changed ever so recently that I'll go into a little bit later. But the supply chain was always planned to be in the South China region for cost advantages and etc. Funding is always very, very important, and also talent, as Crystal mentioned earlier, and Andy mentioned earlier, the talent in Hong Kong and the proximity to the number of universities is very, very good in Hong Kong. So what we decided to do as the business started and grew is we decided to spread our risk and our opportunity, and we decided to be kind of quite aggressive with our business approach and open 2 offices very, very early on in our development, in order to spread the risk and opportunities, as I say, for maximizing our market, our supply, our funding potential in multiple areas. In fact, Hong Kong, for a number of reasons, has offered us probably the best combination of all those things as an area. First of all, in its market and its proximity to the Greater Bay Area and also the South Asian area, in the supply chain, and obviously in low cost manufacturing. In funding, actually, our funding finally came through the UK. So this is one of the areas where we were close with Hong Kong in terms of its ability to raise funding, but it wasn't successful in the end. And at the bottom there, you see a number of logos of different supporting institutions that have helped us along the way. There's Hong Kong Science Park. We were an incubatee for 3 years, and now we are full tenant, and we are very, very happy in that ecosystem. We think that it's absolutely world class as a ecosystem. As Crystal highlighted, the number of companies, the space and the support is truly amazing. Our investors, Foresight, Williams, who support us in a lot of different ways, and there are a number of different competitions and supporting institutions that helped us as well. But so now I think I'll go into really what we're about, and I think to talk about why we're different and where our robot platform is, I think it's best to start with a video just to highlight what we do. So what we have is a really portable, flexible robotic system, and what this is a plug and play, modular, easy to program, highly flexible robotic platform. So what this platform does, as this video is showing, is a really super easy way to configure and use and program and quickly automate in a safe way your everyday needs. And so what I'm doing now is I change the length of the robot. So suddenly you go from a very small, high payload robot, which is working in a very confined space, easy to program, to a very long reach robot for hard to reach areas, for moving items at greater distance. And so that kind of highlights really loosely what our first real target unique selling point is. So what you see here is 3 robots, and actually this is all one robot. So what we do is we create a 3-in-1 robot solution. So what this does for our users and our customers is enables them to not have to worry about picking the right length, the right payload, and have to worry about getting it wrong and having to worry necessarily about only having to do that robot do one thing for its entire life, and then afterwards to be inflexible to change its application in the future. And then secondly, really what we are really aiming to do is to make really easy to use robots. So we bring a different level of flexibility and ease of use that you really don't see elsewhere in the market. And thirdly is our price point. We aim to democratize robots, and really what that democratizing robots means is to enable as many people to have access to automation, not just the big companies who have the budgets to have large robots, and they don't necessarily need to be the only people who benefit from automation. So here are some applications that we have going on in Hong Kong. So on the right-hand side, we have our robot in one of the verticals that I mentioned earlier. Now this is in a smart restaurant, and what we do is we move raw ingredients into the cooking area for a restaurant, and this is very, very good for them because it enables them to take the person outside of the kitchen. The kitchen is the biggest, or the person is the biggest cause of contamination, virus, dirt, health and hygiene risks inside the cooking area. And on the left-hand side is a collaboration that we are having with Farm 66, another Hong Kong startup within the Hong Kong Science Park ecosystem. And what they do is they are experts in vertical farming, and what vertical farming is indoor farming in a super hygienic, clean way. And what we do is we help to accelerate their activity by simply bringing our automation systems in and automating equipment. So that's one of the areas. So again, it's a similar theme with removing people away from food products and to increase the level of health and hygiene and to decrease the level of contaminant. So this is an area that we're really excited about because of it's a real fun area. So going on to some other applications that we're working with actually within Hong Kong and different areas. So as I mentioned, food and beverage, urban farming, also lots of assembly work in some companies which head offices are in Hong Kong, but their factories are in the Greater Bay Area, and what they're looking for is an increase in automation. As the labor rates are increasing, then what they are doing is trying to increase fast and flexible automation, and also lots of different areas within spray painting, testing, and edutech. But really, just to touch on what we feel is the future of automation and also the reindustrialization of areas and big cities such as Hong Kong. Well, we feel that we had in robotics, we have Industry 4.0, which people often use and understand well. And that image of what Industry 4.0 is, smart factories, peopless factories. And what we found in the last 6 months with COVID-19, the increase in social distancing within the workplace, reducing the level of contamination. And what we found is there is a huge increase in the need for automation, AI, robotics, and reducing the risk that these businesses have that if a pandemic happens in the future, then can their businesses continue to operate, and what tools allow partial operation, and all those kind of things have meant that that this vision of smart connected machinery is getting closer and closer, and that's something which has meant that the market in Hong Kong and the market in the Greater Bay Area, as the GDP is increasing and the levels of the minimum wage are increasing, then this is becoming a much more important factor. So the area for us in Hong Kong, the Greater Bay region, is very, very positive, and we're very, very happy with our business growth as it is. And that really brings to the end my presentation. if what we do is we talk to a lot of customers, and if you have any inquiries, and please get in contact. We're very happy to talk about any interesting applications and interesting need of highly flexible robots. And please get in touch at info@zenovorobotics.com. Thank you very much.
Jonathan, so very interesting video and also the talk. There's a couple of questions already in the Q&A section for you, so we will leave it at the end of the section. So the next speaker is Mr. Fong, and then he will talk about GitPlus and how to use Hong Kong to go global. So shall I pass it on to Mr. Fong? Thank you, Mr. Fong, for joining us today. So let me hand over to you. I know that you have a very fantastic video prepared for this talk. So I hand over to you. Thank you, Mr. Fong.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Andy, and the team of Invest Hong Kong for the time or in this webinar. And yeah, my name is Li Fong, VP and Managing Director of GitPlus. We are doing the AI and robotic industry. Let me introduce our company background. We founded in 2015 in Beijing, in China, and then in the first year, we've got 10 million RMB angel round funding, so that this funding can support us to make a growth and the R&D product. And we keep it on to get a different series of the funding. In last year, we've got we closed it in C1 series funding with $200 million US, which is very good funding for us. And also this is the biggest value in our industry. So we we break the record already, and we coming in this year we also have another new round is coming. Probably we will close another round within this year. And so you can see the milestone that we have a new office in 2017. We set up the branch office in Japan, and also together in the same year we set up the Hong Kong office as a overseas business headquarters, which is serving the global customer around the world. And I'm based in Hong Kong as well, so that I help the company to establish the whole Hong Kong office. And then in 2018, we also set up the German office and Singapore office as our branch office. And then in last year, we also set up the US and UK office. And all the branch office, we also support by our Hong Kong office, so that I can talk about later what we are going to do and what handling with the branch office. And then right now, we already sold 10,000 units of the robot in the world. And then this is the biggest number in the world, I think, in this industry as well. So we are proud of that. We already accumulate a lot of customer and cover most of the country in the world as well. And in the Hong Kong office, that we, as I mentioned, we started up in 2017, end of 17, and then we started with a few people here. And then in next year, 2018, we have expand our distribution network, mainly in like a Asia Pacific area, like a Taiwan, like a Singapore, Thailand, Australia as well. And then we build all our service team with our distribution dealer partner in different countries. And in 2019, we've got a very successful. We've got fivefold of our sales versus the last year of 2018. And then we totally accumulate 300 projects, cover more than 30 countries in the world. And then all the project which is managed by our Hong Kong team members. And then this is a very good, successful story, and also our history to support. We can grow bigger and bigger. And in this year, we keep it on to set up our branch office in different country. And then we wanted to replicate the Hong Kong business model into different country to serve in around the world, even in Germany, UK, and US as well. And then for next year, coming next year, we are trying to build up another new business model, which is we call RaaS, Robot as a Service, so that the robot will be easier to deploy or to implement in different SMB company, and then they can convert from the traditional CapEx to invest the automation system to become the OpEx. And for Hong Kong team structure, we have 4 major business unit. And then first of all is the sales and marketing that we build it up. So we do the sales, we do all the marketing, event, online, offline, everything's in Hong Kong. And then we have the solution team and AI algorithm team as well. The algorithm engineer to help the customer to optimize the solution, and also all the robot enhancement. And then we have the project management, we have project coordinator, we have project manager. We will send over the project manager to the site, to the overseas site, to oversee the whole project progress with the customer. And also we have the implementation engineer, we have the software engineer, hardware and site engineer as well. So you can see the whole global coverage. We start from Beijing headquarters, and then we have different branch office in different city in China as well. So we have a Hong Kong office, we have Japan office, and then in 2018 we expand to Singapore office. We have some project we already deployed over, I think already over 12 project in Australia. And then in last year, we have the Europe, we have German team and UK team, and then also we have our American team, which is located in San Diego, California. And then in this year, we also got a very good successful project located in South America. The customer is Walmart. So I think probably we cover most of the country globally. So this is very good coverage for us as well. So here's a slide that we show the whole series of our robot family. This is a very comprehensive logistics system provider in the world. So we provide the picking system, moving system, sorting system, and also forklift, and also some kind of smart warehouse solution and smart factory solution. And maybe I briefly to introduce a few of the solution. The first one is picking solution, and then maybe have a look of the video first. And you can see this is a kind of the robot go under the shelf and then bring the shelf to the operator to do the picking. So this is a quite very familiar system. We call it picking system. And also this is what we sold the most quantity robot in the world. And the robot can be helped for the operators getting saving, the labor saving can do up to 60% labor cost saving. So the customer can enjoy a very good return on investment. And then here's a case that we work with Decathlon. You know, the Decathlon is a very fast growth company, and then we're happy to work with them. We grow together with Decathlon. We already deploy almost 10 sites already here in six sites in China and another 4 sites in Europe and also Asia. And then we will probably have 16 site warehouse in globally within this year. And then we also plan to work with them around 35 sites totally in the world in these 2 years. So this is one of their case of video, and I think it's very interesting for you guys. So let's have a go. Yeah, it's a very successful case, and also this is a very honor that we can work with this customer to replicate all the project globally and replicate all the project globally. Yeah. And then how we can do the AI, we always claim every product, every service will have AI, but in the robot system, it's more easy to understand that we can have some optimization on the solution that you can see there's a different color of the rack or a shelf, and then we have the heat map to have some scoring that we can do the suffering or do the relocation of all the rack so that we can keep the most fast moving item to keep it on to keep more closer with the operator so that we can reduce the traveling distance for the robot as well. And another type of the system that we launched in this year, we call it a robot shuttle. And this is more on applicable for the normal shelving with the Messling 4 or even the normal shelving with 5-meter height. The robot can grabbing the toll to the operator is similar to the previous goods-to-person solution. And this is one of the video I can share to you. It's very nice. Yeah, so I think the most important or the principle of the robot is no single point of failure, and then you can make use of the robot to utilize your operation. And another system that we having a new system in sortation area. So we have the sortation robot sorting system. This is a kind of the traditional way that you use the conveyor belt to do the sorting. So we are using the robot to carry the conveyor belt and carry the tilt tray to do the sorting in different scenario. Yeah. So we have a retail industry, the 3PL application to do the sorting by route. And then we also having the library application that the robot system located in the library. Once you return the books, and then you just fit it in the induction point, and then the robot will do the sorting by different route, and then the librarian can easily to handle to replenish the book back to the shelf. And also as well, we have the express center, the parcel sortation. And then we have the moving system, which is more in manufacturing industry. And then this, which is using the SLAM navigation. This is a very popular technology right now. And then we have different application in like automotive industry or some 3C or some semiconductor industry as well. And here's a different our customer in different industry, and you can see there's a decathlon I showed in the case video, and then we also have the Nike, and then we have some schedules, and then 3PL industry we have like e-commerce and also apparel or grocery industry as well. So I didn't mention to dip here, okay. And then we also got a lot of award globally. The most important is that we, in the left-hand corner, we've got the Robot Business Review, which is the biggest company or organizer to recognize the robotic company top 50 in the world that we got 2 years from 2019 and 2020. Yeah. And for the conclusion, okay, for the robot system that we believe all of our robot to get a 1 to 3 years to get a return. This is a very attractive story for the ROI within 3 years, and then the efficiency we can get almost 300%. So triple times compared with your manual operation. And then and also as well for the implementation, that's normally we can take say around within 3 months. Yeah, some of the country like in Hong Kong or in China, we can do within 1 month. Yeah. And in this year, we wanted to try to do something for the public health. So we built the disinfection robot. We hope that we can help. We can do something to help for the public health. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, for the UVC robotic. Okay, so and also there's a different application that we did it in Hong Kong, the warehouse, the hotel, and some clinic and restaurant, and also some office building, and also shopping mall and retail store, to keep it on to keep safe, and we do different type of application disinfection. So thank you very much, and then I hope you enjoy this, the presentation. And then if you wanted to have more details, you can scan the QR code to visit our website. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Feng. I think the video is very interesting to show all those different kind of robots moving. And then last time I visited your office, right, I can see that you have a lot of very good design for the robot and being used worldwide, globally. I think making Hong Kong as a place for your going global is a very good choice, I think. So I think it's move on to the Q&A section, but so can I invite other speaker to join this Q&A section? And for those audience, I hope that after listening all those speaker, and then you can get some sense about Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a place for R&D function because we have the science park, and also we have CIC, etc., to provide the funding and facility. And Hong Kong, and also Jonathan, who show being a tenant, and also go through the incubation program, how successful making use of the science park to change it from R&D to commercialization. And then as well as for the keepers, how can he use the Hong Kong as a commercial place to move outside to focus globally and also in Asia, and using the tenant in Hong Kong and also the business friendliness for doing business in Hong Kong. But anyway, now move on to the Q&A. So I have a couple of questions for each one from the Q&A section. So let me start with Crystal, Dr. Fogg first, right? So there's a two question. The first one is about, the question is, does Science Park offer access to advanced computing resources for incubating, for example, machine learning? That's question number one. The question number two is how to procure an innovative product under formal tendering process, because it may be a unique product or service. So that's two questions. I'd like you to answer first, and then move on to the next speaker for Q&A.
Thanks a lot. So for the first question, I think most people working in AI, you will in need of the like the HPC resources, or even though the cloud computing resources. So as long as you join us as a AI Plug members, you could enjoy all these special offer from no matter our vendors or ourselves. So for the cloud credit, it is certain free cloud credit for our AI Club members. And if you are looking for some on-prem setup, so we are going to set up a GPU grid as well. So we are inviting companies, if they got access GPU resources, they could put it all together within Science Park computing power. So it's like a on-prem setup for Science Park tenants as well. So we keep implementing all these GPU facilities, and later on, if you join us and you have any other additional requests, we could also help you to find the suitable support as well. So for the validation platform or project, it's actually quite new to the world, but I could share one simple example, which a government department is now utilizing our platform to validate their own project. So within this project, it is offered by a government department in Hong Kong. So they already issue a tender, and the project is on rodent recognition. So it's like a really interesting project, which not many companies are working on that. But if you regard this as a object recognition or image recognition project, it is actually quite common. So within this project, we are part of their tender proposal, which means that if the tenderers want to submit for the project or tender, they have to go to the validation platform. So we designed the performance matrix together with that particular government departments, and then each vendors or tenderers, they were able to receive a set of data provided by the government department for their own training of the AI model. So after the training period, we have a set of testing data available. So during the submission period, every company has to submit their own AI algorithm onto the validation platform. So all the accuracy of or results will be computed automatically. So after one day, the government department will receive a performance report of all submitted proposal with a tender score. So that is according to the performance matrix that we predefined with the government department. So within the whole process is just less than 3 weeks, and the government department is able to identify which company is having the highest accuracy in this rodent recognition project. So it is one example showing how a validation project could be on board, but of course not all projects is suitable or ready for the validation platform. So the most important thing is whether we could identify or define a performance matrix beforehand, and also whether the platform is available or suitable for that kind of project. So it is just one example. If you have any particular case wanted to share with us, we are always there to help. Thanks.
So thank you, Dr. Fogg. So there's a 2 question for Terry. Welcome back, Terry. Thank you. The question is that what is the eligibility for application of the funding you mentioned, the CIC R&D funding? That's question number 1. The second question is that can overseas company apply for that funding? So you need to open your mic, I guess.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, for our CIC R&D fund, we have 3 different schemes, namely the Explorative Project Scheme, EPS, the Collaborative Project Scheme, CPS, and KPI Improvements Project Scheme, KPIS. For EPS, all research institutes established or registered in Hong Kong are eligible to apply. For CPS, the lead applicants must be a research institute collaborating with an industry organization, which is a construction-related organization registered under the law of Hong Kong. For KPIS, the applicant must be a research institute or an industry organization registered under the law of the Hong Kong SHR. For overseas company, if they have a company registered in Hong Kong, they can apply for CPS and KPIS while their company is registered in Hong Kong. Or they, if they have partners working with them in Hong Kong, for example, some consultant and contractor, they can work with the partner, and the partner can apply for our scheme. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the question. So the next, Jonathan, more than 2 questions. Be ready.
Hi, yes.
So yes. So the question is that for your robots, right? What are the industry is applicable to use? Number 1. The other is the about if I am going to use in a biotech laboratory, how accuracy is your robot? Question number 2. The third one is about what is the, you mentioned about the collaborative robot arms. How does it compare to the normal robot we see in the market, and what are the benefits, etc.? So can you answer those 3 questions?
Sure. Okay. Good questions. So the first question is about which industries. Well, you know, we have a very flexible system, and so when we compare it to other collaborative robots on the market, there is very little robots which have the level of flexibility that ours has in terms of its long reach, short reach, and different flexible approach. So the advantage to a user or customer is that they really don't have to be stuck with one configuration. It is a completely different level of flexibility. So that's the how we compare with the market. The the biotech questions is another very interesting question. So in terms of the repeatability, and I can imagine that the question is born about test tube sizes and the size of comparing samples. Our robot has a 0.25 millimeter repeatability, and so this is a very high level of repeatability because all the joints have absolute encoders, which means that it's very, very high. We are actually working in collaboration with a few clients within the biotech industry, particularly right now in a automated COVID-19 testing application using very small PCR test tubes, which are say around 5 millimeters or less than a millimeter apart. So we have a very, very high level of repeatability.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So just one quick question. Go back to Dr. Falk. So there's from the floor. Any legislative requirement in Hong Kong that could limit or control the use of robot before we are adopting the robot in the industry? So can you just address this question?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. And actually, we are doing some work on that together with CIC, mainly in construction robotics. So in general, for robotics in Hong Kong, no matter what kind of industry, is not that highly regulated yet. Unless for those in the factory environment, which are always the industrial robots. But for any other kind of robotics, is actually left behind for legislative to technology. So starting from last year, we worked together with CIC to make develop certain kind of regulatory for construction robotics. So mainly right now we have identified 3 areas, which are the painting, welding, and also the plastering robots. So hopefully in the near future, if there are any robots related to these 3 fields, we will have certain guideline or benchmarking for the robotics companies so that they can follow at least the application, the performance, as well as the safety level that we define together with the industry. So later on, if these 3 trades are being successfully launched, I believe that both CIC and HKSTP will design something else as well. So maybe Terry can also introduce a little bit in this area.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for addressing the question. So question for Mr. Fung. So there's a question about how long does it take to set up the basic system setup? And also if we want to scale it up, what's the requirement or the timeline? And then the second question is about how much does it cost to deploy a robot? Can you give some indicative kind of a figure?
Okay, so if you're talking about the implementation time, I can say within 3 months. And normally we take like a 1 to 2 months for the software development and integration with the customer system. And within 1 month, we do the on-site work for setting up the QR codes, assembling the racking, the Wi-Fi. So it's quite simple infrastructure work for around 3 months. Three weeks, and then for within 1 to 2 weeks for the UAT and testing. So normally within 3 months in Hong Kong is fine. And the second one is if you're talking about the cost, I can say from my experience, I cannot say exactly the number because it depends on the size of the project. But I can say in Hong Kong or even in Singapore market, the salary range that we can do or cover most of the project, you can get like within 2.5 years the ROI, which means that during the 2.5 years, you pay for the salary to hire the people, and then you just pay for that money to buy the robot. So normally it just only 2.5 years in Hong Kong, the salary range. Some of the countries that we do in Australia and UK, probably we can get within 2 years. Yeah, so it depends on the salary range. And the principle that we wanted to get the ROI within 3 years. Yeah, the principle, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Fung. So one more question for Jonathan. If our company would like to adopt robot for urban farming in our estate, any indication or implication, limitation we should take consideration? How about the maintenance costs and related AI after purchasing the robot or renting the robot for urban farming? So can you address this question, Jonathan?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, great question. I think it's really good that people are thinking about adopting urban farming within their building, within their company. It's a really great thing to do. It's still in its infancy. What I'd suggest is that obviously we are partnering with another company, Farm 66, and so I think that it's probably best for those inquiries to go direct to them in terms of the maintenance of the farm and the facilities. However, from our robot size, the side, it is all very, very flexible. But really, in terms of urban farming, we are not the experts in that. We are supporting Farm 66 with this.
Okay, one more question. Let me read it. Love to see that Innovo would provide underwater robot for inspection and repair works on seabed, and Git Plus to provide multi-deck car park system. Any comment from this? Start with maybe Mr. Fung. Any comment about what multi-deck car park system?
Yeah. In principle, yeah, we more focus in logistic area and manufacturing. We know there's some of the supply in China, they work it before, and then we also have some study R&D for this application scenario, but unfortunately we cannot find any very good reason or advantage with deploying this kind of system, because at least you cannot have a very good saving in terms of the rental or land cost saving, and then you still have a lot of costing. So yeah, this is not. We tried to study it, but unfortunately we turned down the solution in our roadmap.
Okay, thank you. So, Jonathan, so that one is about underwater robot for inspection and repair work. So, any comment? Yeah.
Yeah, it's we would love to explore lots of different areas, and we have done as well. We've explored lots of different advanced hazardous environments, which is the traditional area of robotics. Really, it's those areas which are the 3Ds in robotics, which are dull, dirty, and dangerous. And so the subsea area is a dangerous area. It's a very difficult area to design for. And right now, our focus is very much on those small businesses on land. So unfortunately, not in the near future.
Thank you. So I think it's about time. It's now 5:30. Let me check with those speakers. Any other further comment before we close this webinar, or any other comment you have? If not, then I have to say thank you so much for making your time to join this webinar, and also all the audience either in Hong Kong or in Europe to join this webinar. I think it's very successful. Hopefully for those people who join will have a more understanding about Hong Kong in terms of R&D and also the sales and marketing function in Hong Kong. So have a good evening for those in Hong Kong, and then have a good day for those in Europe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.